Things are brewing, bro. Sesko only wants Man United.
Where'd you hear that?
Yeah. Well, KG, the comedian. This is what happens. I mean, this was KG actually, I suppose, getting his transfer news 5 minutes ago. So the latest news when it comes to this is basically Newcastle have kind of sort of slowed down their pursuit of Benjamin Shesho because they feel like this one probably isn't going to happen. According to Ben Jacobs, Man United are front runners for Benjamin Shesho to positive talks this week. Shesho is keen to join, even without European football this season. Newcastle fear Shesho is going to Old Trafford despite these remaining talks. The deal is still complicated by Leipzig's asking price, as Arsenal found out earlier on in the window. But Newcastle are so convinced now that Shesho is on his way to Old Trafford that according to Craig Hope, who is like tier 1 when it comes to the Northeast, particularly when it comes to Newcastle, he's reporting that Newcastle are actually now more likely to make a move for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins because Benjamin Shesho was their top target, but Manchester United now look like the most likely destination for the Leipzig striker. They've also had other targets like Johan Wissa, also Strand Larsen from Wolves on the shortlist, but it looks like they're going to try and get Watkins. But of course, United decided not to go to Watkins because they thought that was a bit more of a complicated deal to do. So maybe their thought process is this is quite a complicated one. Maybe that's why they've rejected and pushed back on the Alexander Isak bid that Liverpool put in earlier today. But the general feeling is Shesho, he only wants to move to Manchester United, and we're the front runners in that KG. So that's where I heard it from.
Wow, that's a lot of information. The killer is we shouldn't be surprised that he only wants Man United.
Yeah, out of them
we shouldn't be surprised. Like if you think about it, the size of the club and just where Newcastle. Yes, Newcastle have a good team, but then it's with the competition in the Premier League. How many times is he really going to get to play Champions League football? You've seen Tottenham are strengthened, and they're still strengthening right now. Arsenal are strong. There's all the better teams before Newcastle, and Newcastle trying to be in there. But then when you're hearing the likes of their best player in Isak wanting to go, it's not going to fill you with confidence because it's really all on me. It becomes a high pressure situation. Imagine having to replace the second best striker in the Premier League.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just because we're Man United, bro.
I know what I'm saying.
More than like, I think he'll back himself. Because actually, really, if he leaves, there's a spot for him. You're the main guy. That's an attractive proposition. The main guy, we're in Champions League. We just won a cup. Like we've got a good team. Yeah. We want you to spearhead this thing. But he's like Jan Argafjortov said. Great name. That was hard. It's a tongue twister, but it's a wicked name, isn't it? It's so cool, isn't it? Jan Argafjortov. Yeah, it's a wicked name. But like Jan Argafjortov said, he said that little riddle thing of Newcastle can give him what he needs, but he wants Manchester United. But Manchester United is what he wants. Yeah. I just think it's like, bro, it's Man United, mate.
I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those ones that maybe not as much in the Premier League because obviously we watch it week in and week out, and obviously we know that there are a lot of better teams than us in the Premier League. But I still think across the continent, around the world, Man United still is a very attractive proposition. Just to like, I'm playing for Man United. Well, moving from, let's face it, the Bundesliga, which is a big league, but if you don't play for Bayern Munich, you're like, oh wow, and you go, what, Man United are coming in for me? Oh bloody hell! Where did they finish last season? The only way I can sort of the equivalent is how players still kind of go to AC Milan. If you look at AC Milan, actually, I think they won the league. It was a couple of years ago with Zlatan. Before that, they hadn't won it since like 2011. Reality across the last couple of decades, they've not actually done that much, AC Milan, and they've gone up and they've gone really up and down and what have you. And it's actually like, but if you're still linked, we've seen players go to AC Milan. Kyle Walker go in AC Milan. You go, yeah, it's a big club, isn't it? Historic club. They won Champions Leagues, and you go, what have they done recently? But it's almost like I suppose across Europe, it doesn't really matter. Exactly. So you go into a big club, and it's this idea of but big club, they still got big players and. Then they just got taken over. They probably heard about that. And I don't know. I mean, I spoke about this morning too. I'm with you, Flex, that I would have preferred the Ollie Watkins one because I just feel it's less risky and it's ready to go right now. We know we as a fan base do not have the patience to let someone adjust for 6 months. Look what happened last year with Xerxes. But I still think it would be a good signing. I mean, if you looked at, and depending on how quickly this one could move, if you'd have said before the window opened, you could get basically a brand new front three of Cunha, Mbeumo, and Shesho. You got to tell you what.
You go, that's good.
That is good. That is good.
If Chelsea signed that. If Chelsea changed their thing You know what I mean? Just because they just did.
Yeah.
We'd go Ross, Chelsea on stuff.
We'll say their
Villa, if Villa bought that.
We'd say they're challenging.
100%.
But they got obviously Caicedo.
Yeah, they got
players that can say
100%.
they look ready.
And actually, I did on TalkSport this morning, you know what Kev Hatchard's on? Yeah. Wicked Kev Hatchard.
Who knows?
They probably beat me to it actually, because I was going to get him on. I still will get him to do a deeper dive, but they brought him in on we had him on to talk about obviously Sesko. And you know what Kev's on. He tells you the proper things. And I asked him, I was like, my thing is that what is the correlation of like Rasmus on his way into Man United at that time versus how Sesko is? Like, is that even comparable? Because my understanding is that it seems like Shesko has a bigger body of work than Rasmus did at that point when he'd only scored like 9 goals for Atlanta in his first season. So he was like, with Sesko and Gyökeres, I've said it, I'll say it again, quote, he said, if you want it for now, you go Gyökeres. If you want it in a couple of years, which is what Man United are trying to do in 2028, you get Sesko. And he doesn't think that the league will be, it's not a transition he can make. He goes, he says he means it in the best term, that he's a bit of a freak, like Haaland, in terms of for how big he is, he shouldn't be able to move how he does. So, you know, like when Haaland starts shifting, and it's like, right, powerful, man. Do you know what I mean? Or his touch is there, and even though he's a big guy, he said he's a bit freakish, but it's a step up. And he goes, one thing this year, Leipzig have been shit this year. He said they weren't good, but he kept his levels high. He delivered the goals. He kept pushing. And he goes, another thing is the pressing side of it. He will definitely have it, because if you play in a Red Bull organization, which he has at Salzburg and Leipzig, he said, you don't press, you don't play. Yeah, that's what Kev said. He said, you don't press, you don't play. So he goes, one thing we haven't been speaking about is what he does off the ball. Because I'm telling you, he's at it. So, and when it was said to me by someone at United that the reasoning behind the Sesko was, we're trying to win the league by 2028. Is Ollie Watkins going to be the guy in 2028? That's the one who's good enough to spearhead your attack. Which is what people were saying in the chat of a 32-year-old. Do you know what I mean? But I'm still like, I thought he would have been right. But when it was,
the burden, I suppose the burden is eased by. That's where the Cunha and Mbeumo signing are really important, isn't it? If you'd have bought younger players there, you've got an inexperienced front three. I don't know about that, but I suppose you have got those 2 ready-made Premier League players. And also, if pre-season's anything to go by, which it isn't always, but you would hope that, look, we scored 4 goals without any of our new signings the other day against Bournemouth, and we were all right. So maybe those other players are raising their level a bit. And there's the Vavel factor of he signed him twice, and you can literally picture him going, Ruben, if you want someone to press, I know him. Yeah. I know him. Yeah. I'm talking to him all the time. He'll come in. I know them. Yeah, I was quite a price there. We don't have to negotiate that much. You know, we can figure that out. You know, you can imagine that.
Do you know what's crazy though? When we look at I remember talking to Andy Mitten, and then he was saying, because he was like, look, Man United, this ain't like a...
Hold on. Just say that again?
Yeah, I was talking to Andy Mitten. It was a good cat as well. But I was. And then he was saying that, and there was obviously the off-stuff camera stuff, but then the on-stuff, he was basically saying, look, man, at Man United, this has been their number 1 target. It's not a panic buy or because Newcastle were interested, Man United decided to be interested. He goes, absolutely not. We wanted this player. He's the number 1 option last season. We didn't get him. We tried to get him 4 times, you know, but then it's just not worked out. I remember the days when Owen was meaning Sesko.
Yeah.
Remember that?
It's been a thing for time.
It's been a thing for time.
Benjamin Shesho.
There you go. So I love that.
It's wicked.
So you look at the team and what we've been trying to build, this, I'm going to say this Manchester United side, it's young. It's a young core, hungry. And what you don't want when they're ready to win the league, if you look at the whole Arsenal face thing, you're saying that they're all progressing at the same time and then they go. And then obviously you still leave room for surprises. You know, they might have a really good season. This up and coming season, you just never know. But you do have your quality in Mbeumo and Cunha and Bruno. You have to add him to the pack as well.